Al-Amin, thank you for taking part today.
Pleasure.
And I just want to ask you a few questions. So,
Sure.
first one was, what was it like coming into London and filming the interview for the Easy Bit?
Really nerve-wracking at first. Really not sure how I was going to cope with talking about emotional things, stuff that I'd kept bottled up. And also, I suppose, worried about how people were going to perceive me when I was talking about things that maybe they didn't know, I hadn't shared with them. So really nervous, if I'm completely honest with you, and scared witless.
So how did you find the experience?
Really cathartic. Once we started, I really forgot about it and forgot about the issues and just, the fear, and just kind of went for it. And I found it really helpful, stuff that I hadn't really talked to anyone about. We talked about on camera, which was, actually amazing and really helped me a lot. And I found it almost like a counselling session in a way, which was really amazing. I was having gone from being scared at first, I was so relieved I did it afterwards.
Really? That's really lovely to hear. Like a couple of the guys have said sort of similar things, and it's, I've said to you before, I was very conscious of, in my position, I hold a lot of power to push and to ask you questions, and I felt I had a real responsibility to not do you any detrimental harm, as it were, which I could imagine could happen in that situation. So I'm pleased that you found it cathartic and it was a good experience.
Well, it didn't feel pushed either, and I think that was really helpful. I didn't feel like you were searching for answers. We allowed you to. You just facilitated us. Giving you our thoughts, which is a really nice position to be in, rather than just being asked questions about how are you feeling, tell me about this, tell me about that. It was really nice.
I'm with this whole documentary, I'm very conscious of that. I want to represent your stories. I don't want to push an agenda. I'm not going to question in a certain way to get a certain response, because I think that's kind of very counterproductive to what we're trying to do. So what was it that, when I first asked you, what was it that made you think, actually, I will do this? What you said you were a bit scared. What was it that made you kind of go over that?
Am I allowed to say my wife forced me? No, my wife Pippa was doing a lot in terms of counselling, in terms of other avenues to throw herself into to help herself, and I really wasn't doing anything. I felt like I needed to do something, and I really wanted to help someone else, and I really wanted someone else who isn't in my situation to feel like they can relate and feel like they can understand that they're not alone, they're not weird, they're not odd for having feelings that they are. And that was my big push. I hoped, even if I could help one person, that would be perfect for me and would really make the whole process worthwhile.
I think it's funny. Gareth has used that phrase before. That kind of like, if you, by you telling your story, can help one person, it's worth it. And I think a lot of the guys felt the same way, and I know I certainly did. So if you could give one piece of advice to those guys that are out there that are going to go through something like this, what advice would you give them?
I think be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. I think it's the one thing I've learned in this whole process is how actually, when we've talked about this before, being vulnerable, you actually become stronger by showing your vulnerability. By learning, I've learned more about myself in this process and through the Easy Bit than I would have done otherwise. And that being vulnerable, knowing my weaknesses, has actually allowed me to become stronger in the long run. And that's really empowering for me, and something I'll be honest, didn't see in a million years when we first started this project. And I feel stronger now, and that means my marriage is stronger, my relationships are stronger, and I'm just a better person now, I think, which is, who'd have thought that when we first walked into that studio?
I know, that's incredible to hear. It really is. When I started doing this, at no point did I think that it would have that much of an effect on anybody, let alone you guys going through it.
I think we bottle it up. I bottled it up for ages, and I said to myself I was fine. My wife needed the support, Pippa needed the support, we got her the support. I was fine. And as men, we tend to do that. We tend to think, I need to fix things rather than address my own problems. And so actually this really allowed me to address that. Actually, I wasn't fine, and I had bottled things up for years, and I needed to release them.
Yeah. So if you could give one piece of advice to clinics, what would that be?
Ask the men how they are. treat the man as part of the process. And I think that's the biggest thing, that I didn't feel part of the process in the clinic itself. And I would just say involve the man in the process, and realize that, yes, the female may be the one that's going through the actual technical aspects of it. But actually the man is bottling things up, trying to support his wife, his partner, as well as himself. And often that support gets missed for himself, and support the other half of that relationship.
Yeah. That's brilliant. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking part and doing all of this. It's been amazing to do. So thank you very much, Al-Amin.
Thank you.